Hey, Michelle, how's it going?
Hi, Aubrey. How are you?
Excellent. I have a fun question for you here. Do
Yes.
you like the movie Love Actually? I know we've mentioned this film on the episode on
Yes.
the podcast before.
Yes, we have. And yes, I do love it. I do know, and I'm sure you feel the same way. I know there are certain things when you watch it, they're a little cringy now, right? A little cringy.
Yes.
Um, but I don't know. Sometimes to me, when I see something from the past like that, I still I
Try
even
to
though
give
it
it some
bothers me, I
grace.
try yeah, because yeah,
Watch
and
it
I try.
within the time frame that it was made.
Right. I don't want it to get destroyed for me. And I
Right.
mean, so anyway,
The
do you
biggest
like that movie?
issue I
Yeah.
have with it actually is the fat shaming. So, like the prime
Yeah.
minister's secretary, there are
Yeah.
all these comments like making fun of her for being heavy.
Right. Right.
A, she's not. She
No,
is,
no, not at all.
and even if she were, not okay. Like I
Right.
feel very strongly about
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but and it just seems strange. It seems kind of out of place. I'm just like, what? And also, no. So, but
Totally
almost
agree.
everything else that anyone else would have a problem with, I'm like you. I'm like, it's fine.
I mean,
I
it's
can
just such
forgive
a.
them.
I agree with you. Right. There are certain things that are not, that didn't hold up well. And I think Lindsay and I have done a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
Like what didn't age well. But you can either enjoy something or not. I mean,
Well,
so
and
that's
that's
all.
such a great thing to talk about anyway. Like, I love conversations about whether something has held up. Jessica and
Yeah.
I were talking about the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer with Mike
Oh,
Myers. She
oh
watched it
my
again and was
gosh.
like, it did not hold up. I'm like, oh no, because I loved it when I was younger. So,
Right.
this, guys, have conversations about this. If you rewatch something and it didn't hold up, it's not as funny, it's not as entertaining, whatever. What a great way to connect with somebody. Ask them, like, do you think it held up? Have you watched it recently?
Right. And I'm looking for that episode, but I can't find it right now. But yeah, we talked about this. This is a huge connection topic. So,
Absolutely.
well, today we are not talking about that topic.
Well,
We
we
are
are talking
actually
about the word actually. This is interesting because
actually
the movie, it's called that because at the end he says, love actually
actually
is
is
all
all
around.
around.
So it
Yeah.
is related because the word actually, and we use this word constantly in English.
I think I probably have said it 5 times since the episode started without even
Same.
thinking about it.
Yep.
Aubrey, this question comes to us from YouTube from Polly129, and it says, it there was one comment about the episode, and then it says, "Wow, an episode about actually would be of great interest." So, thank
Yeah.
you so much, Polly129, for bringing that topic to our attention. I think we spoke about it on an episode. We said we needed to do an update on actually, because this is such an important and common word, and it's used in so many different ways that we're going to break down today. So we may end up doing some sort of mini series on this. We're going to see how it goes and what we still feel we need to cover. So Aubrey, what do you think?
Yeah, I love that because I use this a lot. I hear this a lot, and I agree we use it in lots of different ways. So be sure to hit follow in
Yeah.
case we make this a series, right?
Yeah.
We really enjoy doing this where and some of the series are both here on All Ears English and Business English.
Yeah.
So be sure to hit follow on both podcasts.
That's right. So, in general, I would say that actually is kind of about being surprised or that something is really or shocking in some way.
Exactly.
But one other way that it's used is to kind of pull back or hedge, right? And
Mm.
that's really helpful and important for daily life. So, Aubrey, what do you think about that?
Okay, yeah. Let's give some examples of how we do that. I agree. I do this a
Mhm.
lot. Might say, I was actually hoping we could go to the beach one more day before we leave. And yeah, this is softening just a little bit this request, right? I'm not saying
Mhm.
we need to go to the beach before we leave,
Right.
right? I was
Right.
actually thinking we're
Actually,
softening
yeah.
it.
Or here's another way you could soften. You could say, "Let's actually leave a little earlier if that's okay." So, we're
Exactly.
just
Because
kind
if
of
you look at the
pulling it back.
difference, if you just say, let's leave a little earlier, if that's okay, right?
Yeah.
It is a little more harsh, a little more blunt. You're not respecting someone else's time. So we just add this word actually to hedge, to soften, so that we
Mhm.
don't seem so demanding.
Right, 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 right. And I feel that there is a bit of thinking in the moment when you use it like this. Oh, let's actually leave a little earlier if that's okay. It's almost like, oh, I'm actively thinking and this is naturally coming out. So, but another way we use it is to correct something that is wrong, right?
Yeah, so
Right.
you're like, if you're giving directions, you might say, "Turn
Uh-huh.
right." Actually, sorry, turn left. So it's the
Oh.
way you're interrupting yourself and sort of saying, "Scratch that, never mind. Actually, left."
Yes. Actually, I was just with my parents and we were trying to get to a store and my GPS was had no idea where I was.
Oh
Does that
boy.
ever happen to you, Aubrey?
Absolutely.
It just no clue. It kept on giving me all sorts of yeah. So I felt like that's what my GPS would have been wanting to say. Actually, do this. Actually, do that.
Yes, right? It's like
um,
showing that you're in a lake or something. It's just
right.
not mapped out. You're in the middle of of nowhere. It's like, "Actually, drive out of the lake." "I'm not in a
Right.
lake. What's
Right.
happening?"
Yes, yes, it's so weird how that happens.
For sure.
So or it could say, "This looks good to me. Actually, the date on here needs to be fixed." So I'm correcting something that was wrong.
Yeah, you thought it looked good, then you notice something. So there are a lot of ways we can say this, right? Oh, never
Mhm.
mind. There's so many things, but actually is a good one. Actually, wait, just kidding. This is wrong.
Or you could say, actually, I live in New Jersey, not Pennsylvania. So I do live in New Jersey. So I'm imagining if you said to me, Aubrey, if you said, oh, yeah, have you been going out a lot in Pennsylvania? Or how do you like Pennsylvania so far now that you moved there? I could say, oh, actually, I live in New Jersey, not Pennsylvania. Right.
Yeah, and this is actually a really polite way to correct an
Yeah,
incorrect assumption.
true.
This happens a lot, right? Maybe you misgender someone. Maybe, yeah, you say something wrong, you call their child the same name, right? It's a polite way. Oh, actually, her name is Ellen, right? Instead of
Right.
a more harsh correction that might break the
Right.
connection. This is a great way to save the connection when you're correcting someone.
Right. That's such a good point, and I didn't even think about that. It just is a little bit softer when
Yeah,
you're thinking about, just telling somebody that they are wrong. So, that's
exactly.
nice. I mean, so you can see though, Aubrey, that this is such a functional word, and it's very versatile, and we're gonna go over more ways that we can use this, especially for connection after the break.
Yes. All right. So we also use this to compare something, right? So let's look at how this might work.
Mhm. Alright. I know it looks cold outside, but it's actually not too bad with a coat on.
Exactly. And what's interesting often actually is not necessary in the sentence. We absolutely could say, I know it looks cold
Hmm.
outside, but it's not too bad with a coat on. It has the
Mhm.
exact same meaning. So it's interesting to think about why we're adding actually. Here it is a
Right.
little bit of that surprise, right? I was kind of
Right.
surprised. Oh, actually, it's not bad with a coat on.
Right, right, right. It looks bad, and we're comparing how it looks to the reality.
Exactly.
So and yeah, and I like that you brought that up as well because that it's surprising as well because sometimes this word has more than one of the functions we're talking about. It's a little bit surprising and it's kind of comparing perception
A
versus
lot.
reality. So there's so much within this one word.
Yeah.
Here's another example. She actually eats more veggies than her brother.
Yeah, right?
D
So that might be kind of surprising, right? This I probably use it this way the most. If you're trying to make a comparison, but you want to make it a little more interesting, be like, you might think that I would hate horror movies, but
Right.
actually I'm a huge fan. This is a great way
Right.
to add interest to whatever you're saying. You could say that
Yes.
in a much more boring way, be like, yeah, I know a lot of people don't like horrors, but I do like them. Right? When
Right.
you add
Right.
actually and you're giving yourself more words to emphasize
Yes.
too, to vary your intonation.
True. Actually, right?
Yes.
Aubrey, who's the best eater of all your kids?
Probably my eldest. She's pretty good about and she wasn't, difficult when she was little,
Oh,
and my
that's
younger kids, they just snack. They will sneak snacks, so then they're not hungry for dinner. They're really bad about that. I need a lock on the snack cabinet.
I know. I've been thinking about getting one of those "the kitchen's closed" signs or
Right?
something. Not that they would actually pay attention to them, but my
No.
kids, they storm in from school. I want a snack. I want a snack. I want a snack. I want a snack. And yeah, it's just
I
yeah,
tried I'm like, "You can have a veggie or a fruit or yogurt because
yeah.
anything else is going to kill their appetite. I mean, we're having dinner in 3 hours, you're not gonna be hungry."
Right. Exactly. So, and then lastly, I just wanted to bring up this way. This is about that shocked or surprised feeling that you have about something. So, I might say to Aubrey, "You actually said that? Wow, you're brave, right?" So I'm
Yeah.
surprised, right? She said she stood up to someone that I was afraid of, and I'm saying she's brave, right? So,
This is funny because I feel like often when you say this, the person's going to respond and say, "Well, no, I didn't actually say that, but I thought it," or "But I said this," right? They're like,
True.
because often you're exaggerating, you're like wanting to tell a good story. So if you say to someone, "Did you actually say that?" I feel like 98% of the time the answer is like, "Well, no, I didn't actually say that,
Right. That's so
but I thought
true.
it."
That's so true. I feel like that just happened to me the other day.
That's
Um,
funny.
or what's another example?
Yeah, you might say, "Wow, we are actually going to be on time for once." This is a really passive aggressive way to tell someone who's always late that you're, like, surprised they weren't late for once. Like my
Oh, you're
kids.
actually on time.
"Wow, look at
Yep.
that. We're actually gonna be on time. Shocker."
Or this one is, I hate olives, but I could say if let's say I found an olive I liked, which would never happen, but I could say, I usually hate olives, but I actually like these ones.
Oh, interesting. I love every olive. So you and I, this is not a mutual interest.
Not
As
a
a little
mutual
callback to a recent
interest.
episode, I love olives.
Ugh.
That's funny.
If even something if an olive has touched something in a salad and I can taste, like, the residue on the salad, even that's too much for me, I
I
don't know.
have a feeling a lot more of our interests agree with or, listeners agree with me than you, Michelle. I think this should be the
Probably.
poll question today. You know, do you think
Yes,
it's crazy
yes.
that Michelle hates olives? Yes or no? Come and answer that poll on Spotify. I wanna know.
Perfect, definitely. So let's just do a short review before because we taught a lot of information today. So let's just kind of go through and review. So one way that we spoke about was to hedge, right? Oh, I was actually hoping we would do this.
Yeah, to
Um,
soften.
to
Yes.
soften, or what was the other one, Aubrey?
Yeah, to
Write this
correct,
down.
something that is
Mhm,
wrong or an incorrect assumption, right? I'd be like, "Oh,
mhm.
actually, my name is Aubrey." A lot of people call me Audrey with a D. I'm like,
Oh,
"Well, actually, it's Aubrey." And I'm trying to
right.
say that really politely.
And you're keeping the connection while
Yes.
correcting someone. Another thing is you could talk about comparing things, right? Perception versus reality. It looks cold, but it's actually not too bad.
Yeah, and lastly, to compare something, talking about what it's really like, right?
Right.
I know it
No,
looks
yeah,
cold, but it's actually quite nice out.
right. Or when you are shocked or surprised. So you actually said that. You're so brave. Should we do a role play, Aubrey?
Yeah, let's do it. We are on vacation together. It's our last day of vacation. That's always sad when you
I
when you
know.
hit the
There's always
last day of vacation.
oh, do you like there's always kind of this unsaid strange feeling that starts coming up maybe the last half of a vacation. Do you feel it? Do you start feeling it towards the end, or do you just kind of are
It's
you
like
able
the
to totally enjoy
denouement. It's the same with a
it?
you have, like, the rising action and the climax in the middle, and
Yeah.
then it's like, "Oh,
Yes.
we feel it ending." You have this yes,
Yes.
absolutely. I think we've all been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll start us.
Here we
Ready?
go. Mhm.
So what should we do on our last day?
I actually think we should just go back to the shops.
You actually wanna do that? We have shops at home.
Well, there was this one place I wanted to check out. Wasn't it called Leah's Jewelry?
Oh, that place. Actually, it's Leia's Jewels.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't normally shop that much, but I actually want to go back there. Then we can get lunch?
Actually, that's a good idea. There's great restaurants on the strip there.
Sounds like a plan.
Nice. This is definitely a conversation I've had with a friend because I hate shopping and they'll always want to shop and look for souvenirs and then let's go check these places out again. I'm like, ugh, I'd rather do anything else.
That's funny.
Like,
No,
actually, I'd rather die.
well, I like going shopping if it's cute local shopping. I remember I was
Yeah.
on vacation somewhere once and I was shocked because the it was all chain stores and I thought that I'm like, where's the area where you get the cute local artists and
Yeah.
that's what I like when I so I do like shopping, but
Yeah.
not for things that I can find at home.
My favorite is in Rocky Point, the like vendors will walk along the beach. And so I'm like, yes, I just am gonna buy like a little
That's
bracelet for
cool.
my daughter from this, and then I don't have to go to the shops.
That's perfect. That's
Right,
perfect.
let's
I
go
get a
through this
little
role
all right.
play.
Yeah, sorry. I could
I
go
know
on
we
for a
could
while.
chat forever, right?
I
Okay.
know. Okay, here we go.
So first you said, I actually think we could just go back to the shops. So this is
Mhm.
hedging a little bit, right? You're kind of putting forward this idea of what you might like to do, but stop. You're not being demanding. You're trying to say
Right.
what you'd like to do without like being bossy or demanding.
Right, right. And then you are like, "What?" You said you actually wanna do that? We have
I'm
shops at
expressing
home.
surprise here, right? You actually
You
want to do that? That's kind of a rude. That's not the nicest way to say
Yeah,
that,
that
right?
one's Aubrey. That wasn't so nice
Right.
of
I would
you.
probably instead be like, "Really? But there are shops at home," right? To say
Yeah,
you actually wanna do that is
right.
very critical and judgmental of what they've
Yeah.
just said, right?
Mm. And then I'm asking about the name of the store. I'm trying to remember, and I said, "Wasn't it Leah's Jewelry?" And you said, "Oh, that place." Actually, it's Leia's Jewels, right? So
So
you're
I'm
correcting
correcting
me.
here, exactly, and this is a polite, softer way, "Oh, actually, it's this," instead of like,
Mhm.
"You're wrong, it's Leia's Jewels."
You silly person. How could you think that? Right.
And then you said, "I actually want to go back there." Yeah. Oh, man, so
Mhm.
many and then the last one, "Actually, that's a good idea." And it's funny
Mhm.
because sometimes when we have the same word in one role play like this, it would feel like, wow, we're saying actually a
Yes.
lot. With this
Yes.
word, I don't know that it does because we use
I
it
was
so
thinking that.
often in so many
Yep.
ways.
Yep, I was thinking the exact same thing. I have so many times, Lindsay and I will be doing a role play, and I said, we wouldn't actually do this."
Right? We wouldn't actually say actually this many with actually, yes, we actually would.
We actually
We actually would say it this much in one
It's
conversation.
true. And actually, I have an episode that I recommend our listeners check out next, which was episode 2333. That was vocabulary that is worth the trouble.
Nice. Awesome. This is such a great episode. I kind of want to count how many times we said the word actually in the episode and share that in a future episode. We could have you guys guess. How many times do you think we
That's really
actually
funny.
said actually
Actually,
in this
yes.
episode?
Yes, yes, yes.
A lot.
That Yeah, a lot, a lot. Well, this was so much fun, and I mean, takeaway, this is just a huge word for connection. This word is thrown out constantly all the time. Don't worry about don't say it every
Right.
other word, right? But if it makes sense, and there are so many times when it does make sense to use it, you're gonna hear it everywhere, so go for it.
Yeah,
And a
and
good
like we said, yeah, it's really important to soften criticism, soften corrections. If someone makes an assumption, you can either make them feel really uncomfortable by how you correct them, or if you throw in a word like actually and soften it, you can save that connection.
Awesome. All right. Well, this was fun, Aubrey, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, awesome. See you guys next time.
All
Bye.
right.